Hello friends. What happens when the mighty lion meets the mysterious scorpion? Is it a passionate saga written in the stars, or a cosmic collision waiting to happen? Today, we're diving deep into the intense and often electric connection between a Leo man and a Scorpio woman. Spoiler alert, this duo is anything but boring. It's fire meets water, sun meets shadow, charisma meets power, and every aspect of their bond is dialed up to 11. So buckle up, because whether you're a hopeless romantic, a curious skeptic, or just trying to figure out why your Leo boyfriend acts like he's starring in his own movie while your Scorpio self prefers a private Netflix thriller, this forecast will answer everything you've wondered. Let's break it down: love, sex, marriage, friendship, and even business. Love compatibility, drama, devotion, and deep waters. Imagine this: a Leo man walks into a room and instantly, he owns it. He doesn't try to dominate, it just happens. There's an undeniable magnetism in his posture, the warmth in his voice, the confident gleam in his eye that seems to say, "I've arrived, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." People are drawn to him like moths to flame, but for Leo, it's not just about being noticed, it's about being celebrated. And if you think that's arrogance, think again. Underneath that king of the jungle bravado is someone who genuinely wants to light up the world, make people feel good, and be a source of strength. Enter the Scorpio woman. She's not standing in the spotlight, but you still can't look away. She's an enigma wrapped in velvet, her gaze is steady, calculating, magnetic in a completely different way. She watches everything, says very little, but when she speaks, it lands like poetry. She doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve, in fact, she guards it like a treasure, buried deep. Not because she's cold, but because her love is so potent, so raw, she needs to know it's going somewhere real. Now imagine these two energy forces colliding. The moment their eyes meet, it's like they recognize each other across lifetimes. The Leo man, used to adoration, finds himself unexpectedly fascinated. Scorpio doesn't flatter, doesn't fawn, she sees him, sees past the charm to the fire underneath. That grabs him. Meanwhile, she senses that his charisma isn't just a mask, it's armor, and behind it is a loyal, passionate heart that just wants to protect and be adored. She doesn't trust easily, but something in him feels different. Maybe even worth the risk. The connection is electric, but it's not simple. Both are fixed signs, meaning they're wired to hold their ground, stay the course, and guard their independence fiercely. Neither of them backs down. And that's where the fire comes in. Not just the romantic kind, but the kind that forces growth, the kind that makes or breaks. When they argue, it's not over petty things. It's about values, trust, respect. And when they love hard. They don't do lukewarm, they dive all the way in or not at all. Their love isn't a sweet breeze, it's a monsoon. The Scorpio woman craves emotional truth, and she's willing to dig deep, even if it means unearthing pain. She asks the tough questions. She pushes for vulnerability. Leo, meanwhile, wants to be admired, but not dissected. He loves loyalty, but struggles with emotional exposure. He'd rather roar through pain than cry through it. This difference can become a fault line, or the very bridge that connects them, if they let it. Scorpio's emotional intelligence can help Leo peel back his layers in ways no one else has dared. And Leo's unwavering belief in love and loyalty can teach Scorpio to trust again, to step out from behind her protective walls. But that trust has to be mutual. If Leo feels criticized or Scorpio feels unsafe, walls go up. Fast. And the silent treatment from a Scorpio woman? It's legendary. Just as dramatic, in a quieter, far more unnerving way, than any Leo outburst. Yet when these two find rhythm, when Leo learns that being vulnerable doesn't make him weak, and Scorpio learns that not every expression of love comes with hidden motives, they become unstoppable. He brings her out into the light. She anchors him in truth. He teaches her joy. She teaches him depth. They can be dramatic, oh yes. Think midnight texts, passionate debates, and grand gestures that look straight out of a movie. But that's who they are, lovers who feel things fully, who don't just want to love, they want to consume and be consumed. And in a world full of half-hearted connections, theirs is the kind people write books about. But with that intensity comes risk. Scorpio's jealousy can ignite if Leo flirts too freely or forgets to reassure. Leo's pride can flare if he feels Scorpio is being too cold or secretive. These aren't minor hiccups, they're emotional earthquakes. What keeps them from crumbling? Devotion. Because for all their drama, both signs are fiercely loyal once committed. They don't give up easily. They don't walk away without a fight. Their relationship becomes a masterclass in emotional evolution. It's not about who's in control, though they'll wrestle with that, for sure. It's about learning how to merge without losing themselves. Scorpio wants soul bonding. Leo wants heart-centered loyalty. If they find the sweet spot where those needs overlap, their love becomes a fortress. Protected, passionate, and real. In the end, love between a Leo man and Scorpio woman isn't for the faint of heart. It's not cute or convenient. It's the kind of love that challenges, refines, and reshapes who you are. The kind you don't forget. The kind you survive, and if you're lucky, thrive in. Because when it works, it's not just an epic romance. It's a legend. Sex compatibility, volcanic energy meets emotional depth. Let's not sugarcoat it, when a Leo man and a Scorpio woman come together physically, it's not just sex. It's alchemy. This is a connection forged in fire and fueled by water, raw passion meets emotional immersion. On the surface, they may seem like opposites in how they approach intimacy. Leo is flamboyant, expressive, playful. He wants to make love like he's directing a Hollywood love scene, dramatic lighting, high energy, unforgettable moments. Scorpio, in contrast, wants something deeper, something darker. For her, sex is a spiritual portal, a place where vulnerability meets power and souls are laid bare. She's not here to perform. She's here to merge. But when these energies combine, the result is explosive. Leo brings heat, spontaneity, a magnetic desire to impress and please. He's generous, eager, and all in with his body and attention. Scorpio brings depth, intensity, and an almost hypnotic energy that can draw out parts of Leo he never knew existed. She doesn't just want to be touched, she wants to be understood. And Leo, despite his flair for the physical, is capable of extraordinary tenderness when he feels emotionally safe. The chemistry is immediate and undeniable, but this isn't a one-note song. Their sexual rhythm unfolds like a symphony, bold crescendos, quiet pauses, sudden spikes of tension followed by soul-soothing release. Leo thrives on praise and reaction. He wants to see the impact he's making, hear the moans of appreciation, know he's unforgettable. Scorpio, however, isn't easy to read. Her pleasure isn't always loud, but it's deep, and Leo must learn to tune into the subtleties, to read her emotional cues rather than expect constant affirmation. This learning curve can either frustrate him or fascinate him. If he rises to the challenge, he'll discover a lover who offers a depth and devotion he's never encountered before. If he doesn't, if he stays in performance mode and avoids emotional vulnerability, Scorpio may begin to withhold. Not out of malice, but as a form of energetic self-protection. For her, sex without real connection quickly becomes meaningless, even draining. And that's where trust comes in. Scorpio guards her body the way she guards her heart, with fierce, quiet intensity. Leo, for all his bravado, also needs to feel emotionally secure. His confidence in bed can mask a deep craving for genuine appreciation, not just for his performance, but for who he is. When Scorpio senses that need, and chooses to meet it without judgment, she opens the door to a richer intimacy than either of them expected. But they both need to stay present, and honest. Scorpio's emotional intelligence means she can sense when Leo's holding something back, even if he flashes a charming grin and insists everything's fine. And Leo, though proud, can feel when Scorpio withdraws into herself, pulling her emotional tide inward and creating a vacuum that leaves him feeling shut out. These moments can breed insecurity and misunderstanding, and if neither speaks up, the chemistry that once lit up the room can start to flicker. Jealousy is another landmine. Scorpio is famously possessive, and while Leo is loyal, he thrives on external validation. He flirts naturally, it's how he moves through the world. For Scorpio, this can feel like betrayal, even if it's harmless. Meanwhile, Leo may struggle to understand why his need for admiration is treated as a red flag instead of a love language. If not addressed, these mismatched emotional triggers can explode between the sheets, either through fiery arguments or icy silence. Yet, if they choose vulnerability over pride, curiosity over control, the sexual bond becomes something sacred. Leo begins to understand that being emotionally naked can be even more powerful than physical dominance. Scorpio discovers that passion doesn't always have to be shadowed by fear or guardedness, it can be joyful, wild, even fun. Together, they can co-create a space where trust, desire, and emotional depth swirl together in a dance that's as healing as it is exhilarating. It's important to note that both of these signs crave intensity. They don't want to play it safe. They want to be consumed, to feel everything. That desire can be both their bond and their battlefield. When their emotional landscapes are aligned, sex becomes a sacred ritual, an act of devotion, surrender, and empowerment. But when their egos clash, it can feel like a war zone where nobody wins. Over time, this couple will either become more attuned to each other's rhythms, or grow apart. If Leo learns to slow down, to dive beneath the surface, and if Scorpio learns to let some light in, to enjoy the ride without always seeking control, they can unlock a level of intimacy that few couples ever reach. Marriage compatibility, royal couple or power struggle. Now imagine this, a Leo man and a Scorpio woman standing at the altar. The room is filled with candlelight, elegance, intensity, and the unmistakable sense that this is no ordinary match. This isn't a sweet, simple love story. This is a union of sovereigns. He, the regal heart of fire, bold and brilliant. She, the emotional strategist of water, deep and discerning. Together, they're not just saying, "I do," they're declaring a lifelong alliance between two powerful forces. From the outside, it can look like a perfect match. Leo exudes devotion. Scorpio radiates depth. They're fiercely loyal, incredibly protective, and dead serious about commitment. But step inside the castle walls, and the real work begins. Because as much as this marriage has the potential to be legendary, it's also a delicate balancing act between ego and emotion, pride and privacy, admiration and trust. Leo, ruled by the sun, thrives on warmth, praise, and being seen. In marriage, he wants to be his partner's hero, their constant source of strength and joy. He needs affection like oxygen, especially the kind that's public. Compliments, gratitude, admiration, these are not just nice extras for Leo. They're his love language. He wants to know that his efforts are noticed, that he's not just appreciated but celebrated. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto and Mars, needs something quieter, but no less intense. She wants emotional safety. She wants to feel that her inner world is protected, understood, and never dismissed. Public flattery won't impress her if private intimacy is lacking. Her love language is loyalty, presence, and emotional truth. She doesn't just want promises, she wants proof. And while she may not demand attention in the spotlight, she absolutely demands consistency behind the scenes. Herein lies the tension. Their emotional currencies are different. Leo shines outward, Scorpio dives inward. If Leo feels neglected or unappreciated, he can become dramatic or distant. If Scorpio feels emotionally unsafe or disrespected, she can become cold, withdrawn, or controlling. Their clashes don't come from lack of love, they come from unmet needs that neither may know how to express at first. That's why communication isn't just helpful, it's mission critical. And not just any communication. Honest, ego-free, emotionally intelligent dialogue. Leo has to learn that vulnerability is not weakness. That letting Scorpio into his fears, his doubts, his quiet moments doesn't make him less of a man, it makes him more of a partner. Scorpio, in turn, has to trust that she can reveal her fears, her insecurities, her darker thoughts without losing control or being misunderstood. When they learn to meet in the middle, Leo opening his heart beyond the show, Scorpio opening her heart beyond the armor, their bond becomes incredibly resilient. Their differences don't divide them, they deepen their connection. Leo learns patience. Scorpio learns joy. They evolve together. And this marriage becomes more than a relationship, it becomes a transformation. But let's not ignore the storm clouds. Both signs are fixed, meaning they're naturally resistant to change and compromise. If a conflict arises, neither is likely to fold quickly. Leo may double down with pride. Scorpio may dig in with silence. These stalemates can go on for days, breeding frustration, resentment, and emotional distance. The danger here isn't the fights, it's what's not said. If emotions are suppressed too long, they resurface later as mistrust or manipulation. And yet, the very traits that make them stubborn also make them committed. When they love, they stay. They fight for the marriage. They invest. They build. Scorpio sees the long game. She doesn't jump ship at the first crack. Leo, for all his pride, is loyal to the end when he feels valued. He'll protect his marriage like it's his throne. Together, if they learn how to harness this shared sense of devotion, they can create a partnership that's unshakable. What makes this marriage exceptional is the shared intensity. They're not content with surface-level partnership. They want meaning, purpose, power. Leo brings vision, Scorpio brings strategy. Leo brings motivation, Scorpio brings insight. As a team, they can conquer challenges, build legacies, raise families, start businesses, anything. But only if they stop seeing each other as competition and start seeing each other as complement. This isn't the kind of marriage where you coast through life on autopilot. It's a passionate, evolving, emotionally rich partnership that asks a lot, and gives back more. It requires patience, presence, and a willingness to grow not just with each other, but because of each other. Friendship compatibility, allies in the shadows and spotlight. Friendship between a Leo man and a Scorpio woman is one of those hidden astrological gems, often overlooked, yet rich with potential. At first glance, they might seem too different to click. Leo is the sun, open, radiant, drawn to the spotlight and driven by recognition. Scorpio is the moon's shadow, private, intuitive, and deeply protective of her energy. But once the initial contrast is moved past, what emerges is a powerful, almost unshakable bond. This isn't your surface-level, once-in-a-while check-in kind of friendship. When Leo and Scorpio choose each other as friends, it's an alliance. A pact. A silent vow that says, "I've got your back, no matter what." Leo brings warmth, enthusiasm, and an infectious belief in possibility. Around him, the world feels brighter, less heavy, more hopeful. Scorpio, while emotionally complex and guarded, is drawn to this light. Not because she lacks it, but because Leo reminds her of the joy in life that she sometimes forgets to seek. He pushes her to be bolder, louder, more expressive, to show up, not just observe. She may resist at first, but she secretly loves that he refuses to let her hide. He celebrates her in a way she rarely experiences, without agenda, without probing, just pure, glowing admiration. And for someone as emotionally private as Scorpio, that kind of affirmation is both disarming and healing. On the flip side, Scorpio brings depth, loyalty, and fierce insight. She sees things Leo doesn't, not because he's naive, but because he's more trusting, more likely to assume good intentions. Scorpio, with her finely tuned emotional radar, can spot a fake a mile away. And she'll tell Leo straight up when someone's energy is off, even if he doesn't want to hear it. She's not doing it to dim his shine, she's doing it to protect him. Over time, Leo comes to value her counsel more than anyone else's. He may be the king of charisma, but she's the queen of discernment. And together, they make each other smarter, stronger, and more grounded. This dynamic works best when both accept their differences as strengths rather than flaws. Leo can't expect Scorpio to throw compliments his way like confetti, she's not wired that way. Her affection is quiet, often shown through actions, not words. She'll stand by him during hard times, defend him behind closed doors, and offer advice others are too afraid to say aloud. That's her love language. Leo, meanwhile, teaches Scorpio that life isn't always a chess game. That sometimes it's okay to be spontaneous, to laugh loudly, to wear your heart on your sleeve. His presence helps her soften, just as hers helps him mature. Of course, this friendship isn't without friction. Leo's outgoing nature can occasionally clash with Scorpio's desire for solitude or emotional space. He might interpret her silence as withdrawal or disapproval, while she might view his need for constant interaction as draining or superficial. These misunderstandings can lead to tension if not addressed. But when they do talk, really talk, they often find that their loyalty to each other overrides the conflict. Neither of them likes losing people they care about, especially not over misunderstandings. They're both deeply invested in the people they love, and that mutual commitment becomes the glue that keeps them close. The most beautiful part of a Leo-Scorpio friendship is how protective they become of each other. Scorpio may never shout her love from the rooftops, but she'll be the first one at Leo's door when things go south. She'll remember the little details, the hidden hurts, the goals he forgot he mentioned. Leo, in turn, will make it his mission to remind Scorpio how exceptional she is. He'll drag her out of emotional slumps with sheer force of positivity and will absolutely hype her up when she needs it most. Together, they operate like a balance of emotional energies. Scorpio reminds Leo to think before he trusts. Leo reminds Scorpio to trust before she overthinks. Scorpio brings mystery. Leo brings magic. They challenge each other, push each other, sometimes even irritate each other, but in the end, they admire one another deeply. And that admiration only grows with time. This friendship is built to last, if nurtured with patience and mutual respect. It requires honesty, space, and a willingness to not always understand the other fully, but to still choose them anyway. They're not always aligned in method, but they are in mission: protect, empower, and stay loyal. That's their shared core. And when you find a friendship where loyalty runs that deep, where admiration meets emotional truth, you don't let go of it. Leo and Scorpio might come from different worlds, but when they come together in friendship, they don't just coexist, they elevate. They become a team that can thrive both in the shadows and in the spotlight. Business compatibility, power duo or boardroom rivals. When it comes to business, a Leo man and Scorpio woman have the potential to be nothing short of a powerhouse partnership, if, and only if, they learn to respect the lanes they each drive in. This isn't your standard boss and employee dynamic. This is the kind of team that could launch empires, build legacies, and walk into any room with an unspoken understanding that they own the space. But make no mistake, success between these two doesn't happen by accident. It's fueled by ambition, sharpened by strategy, and tested constantly by the push and pull of two very dominant personalities. Leo, with his natural flair for leadership, thrives in any environment where he can inspire, motivate, and lead from the front. He wants to be seen, not just as a leader, but as a visionary. He's bold with ideas, fearless in execution, and doesn't mind taking risks if the potential payoff is glory, growth, or greatness. He shines in PR, branding, marketing, networking, any role where charisma is currency. People follow him not just because he tells them what to do, but because he makes them believe in the mission. Scorpio, by contrast, is the strategic operator. She doesn't need the spotlight, in fact, she often prefers not to be in it. But make no mistake, she's the one turning the gears. Analytical, insightful, and masterfully intuitive, Scorpio sees not just the next step, but the next 5. She anticipates problems before they happen, reads competitors like open books, and never forgets a weakness, or a betrayal. She's the kind of executive who's already playing the long game while others are still celebrating short-term wins. If Leo is the heartbeat of the business, Scorpio is the nervous system, quiet, unseen, but controlling everything from behind the scenes. Put these two together and you get a CEO who commands attention and a strategist who commands results. They can cover an extraordinary range of territory when their talents align. Leo handles the big picture vision, motivates the team, secures funding, wins clients, and energizes the brand. Scorpio digs into data, anticipates threats, tightens operations, and sets up structures that protect the mission and power growth. But here's where it can get tricky. They both like control, just in different ways. Leo wants credit, recognition, and loyalty from those around him. Scorpio wants autonomy, quiet power, and unwavering respect. If Leo gets too pushy or dismisses Scorpio's insights, she won't fight him in public, she'll slowly disengage, and by the time he notices her silence, the damage may already be done. On the flip side, if Scorpio becomes too guarded, too manipulative, or starts making unilateral decisions from the shadows, Leo's pride will flare. He'll feel undermined. And a Leo who feels disrespected? That's a lion ready to roar, and possibly walk away. For this dynamic to work long-term, roles need to be defined with surgical clarity. Not just titles, but domains of power. Leo needs space to lead publicly, to take center stage, to be the motivator-in-chief. Scorpio needs her territory too, strategic decisions, confidential matters, critical analysis, and the freedom to move behind the scenes without being micromanaged. It's not about giving one more power than the other. It's about respecting that power doesn't always look the same. If they can reach that balance, their partnership becomes magnetic, and terrifying to their competition. They're the type of duo who can walk into a boardroom and, without saying a word, command attention. Leo speaks and wins the room. Scorpio listens and owns it. Leo builds the dream. Scorpio builds the infrastructure to make sure it doesn't collapse. Leo dazzles. Scorpio delivers. And the beauty of it is, they rarely step on each other's toes when they're in sync. Leo doesn't want to spend hours crunching numbers or fine-tuning back-end logistics. Scorpio doesn't want to be schmoozing at cocktail hours or pitching on stage. Their natural preferences create a perfect yin-yang structure, if their egos don't get in the way. There's also an unspoken loyalty that makes this team incredibly durable. Once Scorpio trusts Leo's vision, she will go to war for him in the background. She'll protect the brand, the mission, and the margins. Likewise, once Leo sees how reliable and genius Scorpio is in execution, he'll defend her fiercely to outsiders and make sure she's never undervalued. That mutual loyalty creates a foundation that isn't just productive, it's protective. But success comes down to trust. Trust that the other is competent. Trust that power is shared, not stolen. Trust that while their styles differ wildly, the goal is the same. If they lose that trust, even a little, the whole structure becomes unstable. And because both are stubborn, proud, and not exactly known for being quick to admit fault, repairing damage takes time and humility. So, are they compatible? Here's the real tea: Leo men and Scorpio women are not the easiest match. But they're also not boring, forgettable, or fleeting. When these two click, it's unforgettable. There's depth, drama, and real transformation. Yes, they'll clash. Yes, they'll challenge each other. But if they grow instead of guard their egos, if they lean into love instead of fear, they'll find something rare, a connection that pushes them to become the strongest, most authentic versions of themselves. So, whether you're a fiery Leo man or a soulful Scorpio queen, know this: the stars don't promise ease, but they do promise magic, if you're brave enough to chase it. If you enjoyed this astrological deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more sign breakdowns and cosmic love stories, and check the links in the description for exclusive astrology content, personalized readings, and behind-the-scenes access. Until next time, keep looking up. The stars are always talking.